Hey everybody, Tony D with a hot take on day 2 of the RNC. There were, big speakers like before, but the highlight of the night for me was Nick Sandman. Nick Sandman was the kid from Covington High School. He went on a field trip with his classmates to Washington, D.C. They're Catholic, it's a Catholic school, so they attended a Right to Life rally. And he had a MAGA hat on, a few of the other kids did. And while they were waiting for their school bus to pick them up to take them home, or wherever they were going, maybe to the hotel, there were protesters there, because there's always protesters in D.C. somewhere. And they were a group of black Israelites. And these guys are, in my view, a strange cult. They believe that black people were the real Israelites. It's kind of like a weird conspiracy religion that they're the real Israelites. They're the real Jewish people. Somehow. And I don't know all the details of it, but it's very strange. And they were taunting the kids, and they were saying very nasty things to them. They were saying racial slurs. They were saying the N-word to one of the black kids. They said that the white kids were going to kill him and eat him, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. They said something really nasty regarding that. They were just very nasty. And the kids basically laughed at him because they were pretty laughable figures, even though they were being very foul-mouthed and vulgar. And, they're kids. They're teenagers. They're all around 16 years old. So they're like shouting their school slogan. I think they started singing their school theme or whatever. And out of nowhere, there was this group of indigenous people who were protesting too. They were there for Indigenous People Day, which I guess was a thing that day, somewhere else in D.C. It's like a gigantic college campus over there. And there's the Lincoln Memorial, and there's the pool, and then the Washington Monument, and other things are around there. And you walk to everything, kind of. So this guy and his friends come up to the Covington kids, and the one guy, and he's Native American. He's got a drum, like a Native American drum, and he's drumming it, and he's going hey, like that. And he goes right up to Nick Sandman, who happens to be in the front, and just drums in his face. Now, Nick is like a 16-year-old kid. What's he supposed to do? He just stands there and he smiles at him, right? Doesn't really do anything. If you watch the video, doesn't really do anything. Doesn't say anything to him, I don't think. That's it. Well, the next day or within hours, people all over social media, television, and the internet in general, just were bashing the kid and calling him the worst names imaginable. Now, were they calling him the worst names imaginable because he had done something? No, it was because he was wearing a MAGA hat. And they really wanted to yell at Donald Trump again. But since he wasn't in the group, they had to yell at this kid, and they took out all their frustration on him. And then Nick Sandman got death threats. The school had to close. It was ridiculous. So they sued all these media outlets for falsely reporting, what they reported, which was they kind of reported that it was Nick Sandman who and the kids who instigated, and they didn't. It was the Native American guy coming up to him. And there was all sorts of weird stuff going on with him. He wasn't totally who he said he was. Something like that. I don't remember it all, but there was something going on with him that, of course, the media hadn't checked out because it fit in their narrative. Oh, he's a bunch of racist white kids. Hooray, we can crucify them and talk about their MAGA hats. Well, they ended up getting sued, and they lost. They're losing, I should say. The first one lost. I forget who it was. I want to say, was it CNN? I think it was CNN. And then just recently, CNN did another piece on him because he was in the RNC on the second night and called him like a snot-nosed entitled kid, which is extremely unfair. And the criticisms levied against this kid weren't about him. It was very unfair. Michael Rappaport, who's an actor, he got really bent out of shape and like, oh, I'd like to punch this kid. A bunch of guys, Trevor Noah, I think, said he wanted to punch him. I think Bill Maher said something like that too, called him a prick. It's like, guys, you're picking on a 16-year-old kid. I mean, really? You talk about punching down. I mean, you guys are famous millionaire comedians or actors, and you're going on national television or your Twitter feed or whatever, and you're bashing like a teenager, essentially, because he wore a MAGA hat and it offends your tender sensibilities. Oh no, MAGA hat, oh no. You really owe him an apology. And I hope he sues you. I hope he sues you and gets one. And so he was on night 2 of the RNC, excuse me. And he told his story. And then at the end, he put on his MAGA hat. And look, he was in a suit. He looked nice. It was a nice show of here's a guy who's not going to let cancel culture ruin himself. And he was canceled pretty badly. But that was the overreach of Twitter, the Twitter mob, and people on the left. They didn't care that he was just a kid. And let's be real. Everybody at that age, when you're that age, there's a good chance you could have done something really, really stupid in that situation. A good chance. A lot of people could have said something that would have been a lot worse than just smiling at the guy. Even just telling him to F off probably would have pissed people off. But nobody did. No, these people act like, oh, well, when I was in high school, I was perfect. I never did anything wrong. Bull. I can only imagine Bill Maher or Michael Rappaport at age 16, somebody gets in their face. You're telling me they're not going to say something? The smart asses that they are, the extroverts that they are. Trevor Noah, you're not going to say something to the guy? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Keep selling that. You guys owe that kid an apology. But he's going to get his revenge anyway, because Trump's going to win. Trump's going to win. It was another night. It's totally rock solid. Story after story. It was more... it wasn't a... I think the first night was better with the Cuban guy. By the way, his name was Maximo Alvarez, if you want to look up his speech. That first speech he gave, and I think it was similar to the State of the Union speech. Man, it's just such a good speech about his family escaping fascism and then communism. But the second night was rock solid too. Lots of good stuff going on. It was more Steve Scalise. Rand Paul did a speech. It was all very positive without being overbearing. But the absolute worst reaction for something that happened was Melania Trump did a speech, and people in Hollywood, a lot of lefties, decided that they would make fun of Melania for her accent. Now, you want to talk about hypocrisy. Here's a woman who's not from this country, speaks fluently in many languages, I understand, and you've got these vulgar Americans picking on her because she's Donald Trump's wife. And they're saying horrible things about her, like, oh, listen to her accent. And like, these are the exact kinds of behavior that leftist idiots go, oh my God, you're racist for saying that. Now, apparently it's okay. If you're on the left side of politics, you can be mean and as racist as you want, apparently. That's the hypocrisy of these people. And the queen of hypocrisy in this case is Bette Midler. Now, this old hag is on Twitter, I don't know why, making fun of Melania Trump. You got no business making fun of her, okay? The first ladies, there's only one first lady who stepped in it, and that was Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton, as first lady, tried to be a politician. She tried to put together a national health care plan back in the day. And when she did that, she became a politician. And at that point, she had to open herself up to criticism. And she got criticized a lot. But Michelle Obama didn't. Bush's wife didn't. And neither did Melania. They just do first lady stuff. They do charity work. They go to events. They stand behind the president. They have been relentless in criticizing Melania. Just relentless and needlessly so. It's petty. It's beneath people to act that way. It was wrong. They did it to Michelle Obama, and that was wrong. To criticize her, for her appearance or anything like that. She is or was the first lady. She's kind of stepping into the politics now. So now she opens herself up to more criticism. But even so, like the criticism, shouldn't be her accent or her looks or whatever. It should be what her policies are. Or, hey, stay in your lane. You're just the first lady. I have no doubt that Michelle Obama may want to run for president one day, but I don't think she has much of a shot of it. I don't think she's really... She doesn't strike me as that capable. Maybe if she does what Hillary did and, becomes a senator and then, now I got experience and now I want to run. But, I don't really see it. She doesn't seem like the type to want to do that. So I don't think it's going to happen. But, I just was like, I guess I wasn't appalled. I was just like, God, it's such low-hanging fruit to go after somebody because of their accent, especially when you've been screaming nonstop, oh, Donald Trump's the biggest racist. Well, he's married to an immigrant. How big of a racist could he be? Well, he doesn't like this, but he's got Jewish people in his family. I mean, and Melania, I guess, is she considered a person of color? Because she's not American. It doesn't necessarily mean she's a person of color, but I'm not sure from what country is she from? I forget. But, just making fun of her because of her accent, it's just so low. It's just so lame. The people on the left have forgotten how to do comedy. They have no sense of humor anymore. They can't function. And my only suggestion to them is get out of politics and regain your composure and sense of humor and life back, because comedy requires you not to be consumed by politics 24/7, and you have been consumed by it. You're consumed. So get out, and leave Melania alone. She's fine.